Have you ever wondered if it's possible to carry a troll across the whole of Tamriel in Oblivion? No? What? Too freaking bad. You clicked on this video and now you're going to watch a grown man carry a whole troll from Cyrodiil across Valenwood and Elsweyr into Morrowind and finally leaving the troll to rest in Skyrim. Yes, this might be the dumbest thing I've ever attempted, and I most definitely wasted 10 hours of my life making this video. So for every like this video gets, I get 1 hour of my life back where I can touch grass and recover from the crash out making this video gave me. So you're probably wondering how I can explore places like Morrowind and Skyrim in Oblivion Remastered. Well, it's actually pretty simple. There's a small gap at the bottom of the map that players can use to glitch out of Cyrodiil and explore other provinces. Now, I've done this in previous episodes, but this time I wanted to up the ante. At first though, I didn't know a dead troll would be part of the plan. All I knew was that I needed a real challenge. So I headed down to Cyrodiil's border hoping to find some inspiration. And believe it or not, a troll literally came from outside of the invisible barrier towards me. So this new plan landed right on my lap. I game-ended the troll and dragged it back through the invisible barrier, into the ocean, and across to Valenwood. An arduous journey was ahead of me. I psyched myself up and prepared for the long haul. Valenwood, the land of the wood elves. Towering trees, dense jungle-like forests, pretty much everything is made of wood. Wait, hang on. Here in Oblivion, it's just a flat, empty, boring landmass. Well, that sucks, but it does pose less of a threat in dragging my troll across it. Actually, you know what? I think we should give this furry guy a name. How about, Todd?
You dork.
To start with, I was really struggling with carrying Todd across the map. If you didn't know, you can make any object float in front of you in Oblivion Remastered by holding the A button or the E key. Carrying small objects like goblets or potatoes is easy, but something as big as a troll can take a little more effort. You see, the carrying system grabs an object from the very point your cursor is facing. Again, not a problem for an object with a small circumference, but a body has multiple limbs. If my cursor is pointing at the troll's arm, then I will pull it by its arm. The same goes for the legs and head. The weight of arms and legs are much less than the torso, meaning it's a lot harder and slower to carry. And this is where I was messing up to start with. Eventually though, I figured this out, and picked the troll up by pointing my cursor directly at its chest. After that, my speed across Valenwood picked up drastically. After longer than I'd care to admit, Todd and I eventually crossed over the border into Elsweyr, the homeland of the skooma-addled felines known as Khajiits. This province has jungles and deserts, it's an overall very tropical place, and a big holiday destination for many of Cyrodiil's residents. Here's a fun fact about Khajiits. In Elsweyr, the phases of Nirn's two moons, Massa and Secunda, don't just affect tides or the night sky. They literally determine what kind of Khajiit is born. Depending on the lunar alignment at birth, a Khajiit could be a house cat-sized Alfiq, a hulking, almost cinch tiger-like Cathay Lorette, or one or more of a dozen other forms. This means the moons themselves shape the province's people in a way that no other race in Tamriel experience. So whilst we're laughing at the idea of astrology and horoscopes in Skyrim and Cyrodiil, yeah, residents of Elsweyr take that stuff very seriously. And you would too if it meant being born with a third arm or leg. I'm sad to say though, like Valenwood, in Oblivion we'd see no deserts, jungles, or kitties of various shapes and sizes wandering the land. Just miles and miles of grass. By this point I was hitting my stride with Todd the Troll. There were no obstacles in my path, and I was able to sprint pretty fast across the map without dropping him. Todd was gliding across the land in such a graceful way that I started to think that maybe, just maybe, it would be possible to reach Skyrim after all. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty pessimistic prior to this point, but look at him fly. If this isn't the most angelic troll you've ever seen, then you're literally lying to yourself, cause look at him, gorgeous. As we approached the southern coast of Elsweyr, I took a minute to allow myself and Todd a breather. After gallivanting across two whole countries, we deserved a break. And what better place to chill than the beach? At this point, I was forming quite the attachment to Todd. We'd been through a lot and still had a mighty quest ahead of us. I let Todd sunbathe whilst I contemplated our next move. We had to somehow cross the ocean in order to reach the boggy shores of Blackmarsh, the Argonian province. Dragging a troll on land is one thing, but through the water surely had to pose more of a challenge. Alas, there was no time like the present, I thought to myself. Onwards! Okay, so approaching the lizard land isn't as simple as it looks. I had to swim far enough away from land as I could so that I wouldn't glitch back into Cyrodiil's Leyawiin region. All the while, struggling to carry a troll through the water. Carrying items over water in Oblivion works the same as on land, but for some reason it's just harder. The troll's body would float away slightly and I'd have to go and grab it again, and this happened a good few times. But eventually, I was able to pick up the pace and turned Todd the Troll into some kind of a screwed up speedboat. And as if this poor cadaver hadn't been violated enough, my character had the gall to awkwardly stare into its eyes for the entire swim. Anyway, we touched down on Argonian soil and were greeted with a collection of menacingly swampy trees. So it seems that Blackmarsh is the first province we've explored to be somewhat lore accurate. You see, Blackmarsh, also known as Argonia, is supposed to be the most alien-feeling land in all of Tamriel, with Morrowind coming close in second. Picture this. Lizard people that ride around in an underground subway system, but the train is a giant worm and the seats are its intestines. Yeah, that's a real thing in the Elder Scrolls lore. And on top of that is a province-wide collective hive mind-like consciousness called the Hist. And all of the trees we see in Blackmarsh are a part of that sentient being. Most Argonians worship this higher being, revering it as some kind of god. Yeah, I told you this place is weird. Of course, we don't actually run into any of this stuff in Oblivion. We should, but we don't. And that's a shame, because me and my troll could do with taking the worm train up to Morrowind. Oh well, we'll walk. Okay, our journey so far was a cakewalk compared to what Morrowind threw our way. Pretty much all of Morrowind and Oblivion Remastered is a lore-inaccurate mountain. And believe me, carrying a dead troll up said mountain was a drag. Once on an incline, the ground would pull the troll away from me, and Todd would tumble back down. I was constantly rushing back down the mountain to grab Todd and pull him back up. So watch me thumble through Morrowind as I throw some fun lore of the province your way. It's implied that the volcanic ash from Vardenfell's Red Mountain influences the growth of Morrowind's massive mushrooms. Something about the ash itself seems to be the main culprit, meaning there could be some kind of component or seed within the ash that births structures resembling what we know as mushrooms. One of Morrowind's most common species of mushroom is called the Emperor Parasol. Some Telvanni wizards even use a combination of magic and rare cultivation knowledge to transform these mushrooms into architecture such as towers, temples, and houses. Once again though, none of that is here in Oblivion Remastered. It would have been cool if they added a couple of mushrooms as an Easter egg in this area, instead of it looking kinda like Skyrim, but I digress. Oh look! It's Skyrim's Throat of the World off in the distance, so we must be getting close to the Skyrim-Morrowind border. Lo and behold, Todd the Troll and I finally crossed into Skyrim. Luckily we didn't get caught by any Imperial soldiers. Again, another missed Easter egg opportunity. Okay, I think Skyrim and Oblivion might be the most lore-accurate province of them all. It's snowy and mountainous, with the literal throat of the world in the distance. And of course, we know that this mountain is Skyrim's tallest, and home to the Greybeards, old monks that have mastered the art of the Thu'um, the powerful language of dragons. Speaking of dragons, lore-wise, the dragon Paarthurnax should also be chilling at the top of the throat of the world during the events of the Oblivion Crisis. As most of Skyrim in Oblivion is unrendered and you can't actually walk on 90% of its surface without falling under the map, I decided to carry my troll to a high up hill with a nice view of Skyrim in one direction and Cyrodiil in the other. We had both been through so much to reach Skyrim, and it was worth every moment. The plan was to lay our troll to rest on this hill, but part of me struggled to say goodbye. We really bonded on our journey, Sure, our first meeting was him attacking me, and myself game ending him, but I felt we'd both matured since then. So, after everything, I gave Todd the Troll one last goodbye, gazed into his eyes one more time, and stepped off the hill. And who knows, maybe a certain Dragonborn will one day find an old troll frozen into the side of a mountain, blissfully ignorant of the adventure the troll once embarked on. You just watched a grown man carry a troll across a video game map whilst growing a parasocial relationship with it. How does that feel? It feels like pressing like and subscribing, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. Please give me more video ideas. I clearly need them. I'm working on more Elder Scrolls content at the moment, but I'm also branching out to other RPGs like Baldur's Gate 3 and The Witcher. Oh, and stay tuned because I will be posting more frequently. See ya!